In today's episode, we're going to do a laundry room makeover, including some DIY projects and adding some decorative touches. I hope you enjoy. I've been working on making over my laundry room for a little over a year now, doing small projects at a time, including painting all of the walls a nice neutral white. Please ignore all of the screws and nails because I already have some items that I'm going to be hanging up there. I've also created a folding table using cabinet grade plywood as well as 2x4s and giving this a farmhouse feel. I attached the 2x4s to the studs in the wall, creating a brace in the middle, and added my cabinet grade plywood on the side. Stained an additional piece of plywood and added veneer to the edges to somewhat match the cabinets in my laundry room, and attached this to the top of the base using Craig jig screws from underneath. I trimmed out the top and caulked it and painted it in the same color as the walls. I want to create some hidden storage underneath here as well as place a hamper. I've already installed the luxury vinyl plank flooring that we already have, and we've already replaced that in the rest of our home, so now this has a nice continuous feel all the way through the laundry room. Across from the folding table are my cabinets, as well as this builder grade light fixture, which I would like to replace with something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I also want to come up with some sort of floating shelf to somewhat hide some of the water lines and the outlets. Now, I don't know why our dryer outlet is upside down, so I'm going to have my husband, who is an electrician, check into that and see if he could flip it upside down. But I want to create something that goes from this wall to this wall and be able to hide most of that and disguise it. I also have a large gap between the washer and dryer, so I want to come up with some more additional storage to go in there. So I may just purchase a rolling cart of some sorts to be able to have some additional storage, but also make it pretty. Before I start working on the floating shelf, I am going to go ahead and hang the items up that I already had in there. This first item is something that I made out of pallet wood. I stained it a very similar color to the folding tabletop and cabinets, and I've already placed 2 screws in it because I'm going to hang a sign. I've attached all of these pieces of the pallet wood together using some scrap pieces of wood on the back side. Once I hang that up on the wall, I did make sure that I had all of the screws and studs because this piece is pretty heavy. I also have this wooden laundry sign that I purchased from Hobby Lobby a few years ago. It has the D-rings on the back, and that's why the screws are offset on the pallet sign. I love the rustic feel that this gives for my laundry room. Now, I did offset it a little bit more to the left because I think I'm going to be placing some sort of lamp in the corner to give me some extra light. I have an old washboard that I found at a thrift store a few years back, and I'm going to hang that up on the right-hand side of the laundry sign. I love the different variation of wood tones with this. Beside the cabinets, I'm going to be hanging up these distressed pallet signs that I found at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. They say wash and dry, and the wood tone plays off a little bit with the washboard because I did not want all of the wood in the laundry room to be the same stain color. My husband received a very large wooden crate, and he was kind enough to take these pieces apart, remove all of the nails and staples, and I'm going to use 2 pieces of that to create my floating shelf. Because there is humidity in the laundry room, I need to fill in all of the holes using some wood filler. I will be using a stainable wood filler, and once I've allowed that time enough to dry, I'm going to go over both of these pieces on all sides using some sandpaper and my orbital sander. I'm going to start off with a 120 grit and go down to a 220 grit to get a nice smooth finish. Once I've wiped them down and removed all of the sanding dust, I've placed them on top of some painter cones so that I'll be able to apply stain. I'm using some leftover stain that I already had. It is Minwax and the color is Mission Oak. I'm going to apply this using a lint-free cloth and blending that in. This will take about 2 coats, and I'm going to make sure that I stain all sides of this piece since it is in the laundry room and there will be some humidity. This particular stain already contains the polyurethane in it. I'm going to allow the proper amount of time for it to dry on both pieces before attaching them together. To do so, I'll be using an old piano hinge that I already had on hand, my drill bits, some wood screws. I want my shelf to have access so that I can push the front of it under so that I'll be able to access the water lines and faucets very quickly instead of having to take the shelf down. On the back side of one of the wood pieces, I'm going to line up the edge of the piano hinge to the edge of the wood. And since it is not as long as my wood, I want to make sure I have it in the center so that it will be able to distribute the weight. Then I can pre-drill all of the holes for the wood screws and then attach those and make sure that I keep my hinge lined up to the very edge. Now I can pull the other side of the hinge up, take the other piece of wood. I'm going to turn it around where it's on the back side and then flip this over so that all of the wood screws will be on the underneath, which will be the back side of the wood, and you won't see any of those. I'll go ahead and again pre-drill all of my holes and add in each one of my wood screws. I'll do that all the way down to the side. So once it is finished, this will now be the top and this will be the front. And when I set it on the brackets, I will easily be able to push that piece of wood underneath and access any water lines or outlets. Speaking of outlets, let's take care of that pesky upside down dryer outlet. Using all safety precautions, my husband removed the outlet and he was going to turn it the right side up. So glad that he discovered this, but it had a bad connection to it, which could have potentially been a fire hazard. So we headed over to Lowe's and got a brand new outlet for it, and he's already installed it. Now it goes straight down and it looks so much better than it did before. My husband has already informed me which way the electrical lines are going so I can make sure to avoid those areas when I get ready to hang my shelf up. Right now I need to use a stud finder to determine where studs are and if I'm going to need to use just wood screws for my brackets or if I need to place anchors in the walls in areas that don't have the studs. I ordered these steel brackets from Amazon. They come in a pack of 6, but I'm only going to use maybe 3 or 4 of these. You could actually lay the wood on it this way and anchor it in the wall on this piece, or you could flip it upside down and place the wood on top of the bracket and still use the other side to anchor to the wall. It comes with plenty of sheetrock anchors, long screws, short screws, and even a mini level. I'll leave a link to this in my description box below if you're interested, as well as any other Amazon links for products that I may show in today's video. Once I measured and marked exactly where I wanted each one of the brackets to go, I went ahead and attach them to the wall using the long screws that were provided as well as that cute mini level. I ended up going with just 3 brackets, 2 on each end of the wall and 1 right in the center. Now it is time to put my floating shelf on top, and then I'll need to attach it underneath using the small wood screws to make sure that the wood will stay in place and not topple over. Now that this is completely installed, I can easily push that piece of wood back and access the water lines, the faucets, and the outlet. Unfortunately, you can still see the outlets and the water lines. So to fix that, I'm going to be using some of these hooks, place them on the back side of the wood piece that folds up, and I found these beautiful valances that fit perfectly in this area. They're not too long and they are the perfect width. They come in a pair. This came from Amazon and I'll link that down below. I placed them on a thin expandable curtain rod and just placed those on the hooks on the back side so I can easily take this down and still push the wood up if anything needs to be accessed behind it. Using the exact same style curtain, except this is a cafe style, which was the perfect fit to place on a similar rod and place this on the hooks underneath of the folding table. This is going to provide me with some hidden storage for items like toilet paper and paper towels. I also purchased this hand-woven laundry hamper from Amazon. It was super easy to assemble and it fits perfectly underneath my folding table. To give me even more storage and also fill in that awkward gap between the washer and dryer, I purchased this rolling wood cart from Amazon. The top of this cart matches almost perfectly with my floating shelf. It slides in perfectly between the washer and dryer, and this is a great item to store things like extra laundry detergent, fabric softener, lint rollers, especially since I like to buy my laundry detergents when they are on sale and often have multiple bottles on hand. This is just a great way for some extra storage to keep those items in. My husband changed out that builder grade light fixture for this gorgeous one that I purchased from Amazon, and it is absolutely stunning. I love the way that this fabric on the shade goes so well with all of the items that I have in the laundry room. For times when I want just a little bit of light, I have this lamp, but since I don't have an outlet over there, this is a DIY lamp. It is a thrifted candle holder, a shade from Dollar General for $5, and I have a rechargeable battery operated light bulb in there that has several different settings for the lights as far as warm white, warm, or cool, and it also has a timer. It's dimmable and everything is on a remote control. Now I can decorate and add all of the final touches to complete this laundry room makeover. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave me a comment letting me know what you think of this laundry room makeover. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love you to click that subscribe button right below the video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I'll see you guys next time.